Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Start again. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Four Lads Rangers Monday Night Live. Rangers are going to win the league, and it's actually going to happen. What a time to be alive. Amrit, how are you, mate? You well?
I'm really good, mate. Really, really good. We had a wonderful day together, didn't we? In sunny Falkirk.
We
Brought you to
did.
my ends, mate. Into the ghetto.
It was lovely. I was especially happy when your mum held my hand through the rough parts of deep and dark Falkirk as we made our way to the Falkirk Stadium. So yes, it was a good day. We'll discuss it. We'll discuss it soon.
No, Stevie,
Kenneth,
you were the consummate gentleman. My mum spoke very highly of you. Said you were very polite and very courteous and very well spoken. I said she obviously doesn't know the real Stevie.
brought up, not dragged up, young man,
There
brought
we
up,
go.
dragged up. Old Maggie, if she was with us, would be delighted to hear that. She would be. Kenneth, good evening. How are we? Are we well?
I'm fine, Stephen. Had a wonderful weekend. It was my birthday on Saturday, so Saturday was lovely. I was down at the Rangers Review show with you on Friday, and capped off by Rangers yesterday. Absolutely fantastic. But I'll try not to intrude in this budding bromance too much tonight, lads. Okay.
You're just jealous. Is that what it is,
Listen,
I'm right. I love you, Amrit, mate. I do.
It's mutual, mate. It's mutual. There's a circle of trust here between the three of us.
Do you want to host? I'll just be quiet. Honestly, Kenny, you all right? Are you going to be okay?
I'm going to be fine, mate. I'll cope.
Okay. I hope so. Amrit, we were there yesterday. 24 hours on. What did you make of that Rangers performance? You've had time to digest it. Probably went home, watched the replays and stuff like that. Your overall thoughts?
It was great, mate. I just went home and just gorged myself on all the Rangers content going. I was on X, Instagram, podcasts, live match reactions, highlights, everything. It was such a good feeling, Stevie, because we were literally teetering on the edge of just shooting ourselves in the back of the ear by going 2-0 down and putting the final nail in the coffin of our season. And somehow, miraculously, these guys have dug down deep. They've got up off their knees. They've stood tall. They've fought. They've fought for every inch on that park. They played for each other. They played for the fans, and they brought it back, Stevie. And they've got my admiration for that, because that's not an easy thing to do. You know, that's the stuff that legends, and you've spoke a lot about this, that's the stuff that legends are made of. Like, you could write yourself into Rangers folklore here with what they're doing right now. And I'm just I'm bowled over with the amount of grit and determination it takes to do what they did. And I'm really, really impressed with the attitude they showed. Yes, we need to stop giving away silly goals. We know that. But the application to come back in the manner and the fashion in which they did is something that is really encouraging for this team, because it means, Stevie, that when it gets to that tickly bit in the next few games, these guys have got the mettle. I believe that, truly.
We love the tickly bit, don't we, Kenny? What was your thoughts? What was your thoughts on yesterday's game?
How could you put it? What the first half was one of the worst 45 minutes I think I've seen from a Danny Rohl team since he turned up, and the second 45 was probably the best 45 minutes that I've seen from a Danny Rohl team. I think the goal just before halftime is key. It's pivotal. We were all over the place the first 25 minutes. It was very concerning, actually, because without being too dramatic about it, I thought they were ripping us a brand new one, put it that way. And I was not a good or a happy camper on our chat, put it that way. But yeah, I've got to say, I agree with Amrit. To watch that second half, Danny Rohl doesn't like anybody mentioning the mentality of this squad. Well, I'm going to stop mentioning the mentality of this squad, because they've got it in bucket loads, actually. To come out and, you know, when you just take the second half in isolation, they've went away to a team in the top six and scalped them 5-1 in the second half. Falkirk don't lose a huge amount of goals, Stevie, and they were lucky it was only 6, because every time we went forward, we were just carving them right open. So absolutely delighted. Puts us in a great position getting into this split. That's the bottom line. We had to be very, very much right in the mix going into these final 5 games, because it is going to come down to bottle now from here on in. There's not much between these 3 sides. We know that, but we're the team with the momentum, and let's go and use that momentum. That's what I would say, because I thought, very much like you two, absolutely buzzing after that game yesterday. I was so impressed by the way we came back into that game, bearing in mind how bad we'd been in that first half hour, basically.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. 2-0 down, Falkirk got a couple of corners, and I was sitting thinking to myself, if this goes 3-0, do I go home? And that's the way I was genuinely thinking, Amrit. And we began to see a wee bit of positivity, but we'll come to that in a minute. I want to talk about, in reviewing the game, we should talk about the goals we lost. I highlighted, Kenny will know this, last week on the podcast, Calvin Miller on the left-hand side for Falkirk, especially against James Tavernier. And Tav got caught out of position. We give the ball away, and Calvin Miller down the left finds a cutback to Boggio, I think it was, who finishes really well, aided by Jaden Mike-Homa, who can't get across. And that becomes difficult for us. 1-0 down, Falkirk kind of quickly make it 2. Failure to clear our lines, and we'll come to why that was happening in a couple of minutes. But failure to clear our lines, and then it's on to, I think, Yates, who comes on to it. We're unfortunately right behind it, Amrit, and as soon as he hits it, you know what's happening. And at 2-0 down, I really did think at that moment, I can't believe we're doing this again, and all these things were going through our heads, and we were quietly sitting watching. It really was a disastrous first 30 minutes.
Yeah, mate, it really, really was. And I think we both sat there and I thought, here we go again. I've seen this movie before and I know how it ends. And that I was shocked and relieved and really impressed at the way they came back. But listen, Falkirk are always a good footballing side. We know that. They've played some really, really good stuff this season. They've exceeded expectations, top 6 in the semi-final of the Scottish Cup next week as well. So it's all very, very positive. So we knew what we were going to be up against with Falkirk. I don't want to make excuses for our team, Stevie. We know about the wind and the factor, and we spoke about that yesterday in the carpool. So the wind was a factor, the sun was a factor, but also the pitch. The ball just does not carry on that surface at Falkirk the way it should. Those long balls were just, it was almost as if they were landing on sand and they weren't carrying forward. Even the passes, we saw the one where your man Trimiti was through, and it was a simple ball into Gassama, and it got intercepted. And we thought, what the hell are you doing? But I think a lot of the time it took us 40 minutes, 45 minutes to get to grips with the way the ball moved on that surface. And they just had to start hitting the ball a little bit harder to get it to where they wanted to get it to in a timely fashion. But that's no excuse. They're out there for half an hour before the game starts, so they should be getting used to the surface and the conditions, in my opinion. But listen, it was worrying, Stevie, when we gave away those 2 goals. I'm glad we did it early doors, Stevie, because it gave us time to come back. But you said to me when we were sitting there, you said, Amrit, if we do not score before half time, this is done. This is done. And that's why that Chikwane goal was so crucial. And we've all seen the meltdown online about was it out and was it in. We were directly in line with that, Stevie. Our seat was on the 6-yard box, so we could see it very clearly. I think the biggest sign is if anybody's in any doubt, look at Bain, the goalkeeper. He's not got his hand up. Look at his body position. Look at where his head is. Look at where his eyes are. He's looking above him. He's not looking behind him, and he's not claiming for it either. So the thing is, these images, these stills can be manipulated so many different ways, can't they? Back and forth and all the rest of it. But it was in by a couple of feet at least, Stevie, is what we saw.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about that quite yet, because the key things happened for me in the build up towards Rangers getting a goal back. Kenny, that first half an hour was extremely worrying. A lot of what Amrit says is what I agree. We sat together and watched it together. So we kind of had a kind of running commentary through it. But what did you make of, why was it so bad in the first 30 minutes? Why Why did Rangers falter so much in your opinion? And did you see at any point with 30 minutes gone and 2-0 down, Rangers coming back into it?
There's a few mitigating circumstances, I would say. That pitch is, whether people like it or not, if you're playing on that pitch every fortnight and you're training on that pitch, these plastic pitches are an advantage to the team that has it. There's just no getting away from that. You know the way that ball was going to bounce. You know the way the ball was going to run. I was going to mention what Amrit's just mentioned, the Chermiti pass. And I thought at the time, and I've since watched it back, I thought at the time Chermiti was throwing his hands up and moaning it. Was it Gassama he was trying to play it into? I can't remember. When you see it from the other side, he's actually moaning about the pitch. You can see it. He just looks at the pitch and gives it, what the hell was that? So he's obviously felt that he's hit the ball hard enough to get it through. And it's just slowed right up on that pitch and it's been intercepted. So that's a part of it. I said on the chat yesterday that in the first 20 minutes in particular, Falkirk they were setting traps for us and we were falling right into it. Now, I've said this before and I don't want to go into too much detail right away, but I've been saying for a long time, when James Tavernier's in the team, I think he's too influential at times. I think he's taking too many set pieces. I think he's almost like a playmaker on the right-hand side. And I feel at times what happened yesterday was James Tavernier was allowed to come forward to a certain point, and then he was trying to play into feet 30-yard passes, 25, 30-yard passes. And Falkirk knew that was coming, and they were intercepting it. And the minute they did that, they just hit first-time ball over the top, usually in behind James Tavernier, where he would normally have been, but because he's so far up the pitch, it's there. Or if that wasn't on, they were playing it down in behind Magoma as well. And that caused us huge bother. Now, it shouldn't really, because we know that Falkirk have got bags of pace on both sides. That is what they have every time I've watched them. They've got shed loads of pace going forward. The boy Miller on the left-hand side, I'm going to call that now. I think he should be in that Scotland squad for the World Cup. Every time I see him, I think he's a terrific player. So I think that was part of it. I thought we were laboured. I thought you could tell right away. You guys were at the game, so you'll see that better than me. But we have this incredibly bad habit of wanting to play ourselves into games. And it's tippy-tappy across the back four far too often. And I thought Giga and Fernandez had far too much of the ball. They're wanting to play slow and get used to everything, get used to the wind, get used to the pace. I think the wind was a big factor in the first half, clearly, because you could tell that we had no idea where that ball was going at times. Whereas Falkirk did look like they knew exactly where that ball was going to land. So there was a number of things about it. But the bottom line is, you know, when you look at us yesterday in that first half, we just did not defend properly at all. We were second to every ball. We weren't particularly tracking runners very well. Everything about every bad habit that we've seen Rangers have over the last couple of years kind of morphed yesterday, and it was a real concern the first half hour for me. But then again, as I say, having watched the game back, I actually thought the next 10 minutes or so, we actually started to play ourselves into the game. We really did. We managed to settle it down and just go, right, we're 2-0 down. And what really impressed me about that was the composure about the team. There was no panic, and they just got the goal. And you could tell their tails were right up when they ran off. They were sprinting off at halftime. And you actually called, I'm going to big you up because you called it right away on the chat. And you said we're going to win this at 4-2. We are going to use this win in the second half, and we've got them where we want them at the minute. And I didn't see that at the time because I still thought they were causing us bother. But fair play to you, because you did genuinely have a real belief that we were going to win that.
Right, a couple of things happened yesterday that led me into how I thought that. Amrit, well, we both were saying the same things. First of all, the ball was sticking incredibly. Every time Falkirk went long and it looked like it would skip through to Butland, it held up. And Amrit and I both commented on that. what happened is Fernandes and Giga got nervous very quickly. They didn't know how to anticipate the bounce, and that unsettled us. It really did unsettle us. And something else that was happening quite a lot, and I've seen teams do it to us. McHome and Tav were really high up, and that ball down the side every single time they were getting in. So Rangers quickly found themselves 2-0 down, and something else happened that I don't think many have picked up on, and Amrit actually said it to me. He said Falkirk won't keep up this pace. He said they can't keep up this pace. And bearing in mind they're going with the wind, he was like, they won't keep up this pace. And here's where I wanted to talk about it, because I didn't want to skip on to our goal just yet. Chukwueze, who I thought was genuinely excellent yesterday, and sometimes at games you see things differently, so I'll hold up my hands. But we both said, Amrit, in the first 30 minutes, he was the only one for me that was kind of pushing and driving and pressing. Now, Chermiti had that pass, but Chukwueze also had one in the first 10 minutes where he could have released Moore down the left and he overhit it, but he overhit it because of the pitch and the conditions, and he was looking as well. It took Rangers time to settle. 30 minutes, 2-0 down, unfortunately. We did settle. Raskin grabbed the game by the absolute balls, drove us on, started to play slightly further forward, and Rangers get that vital goal back. And I was saying to Amrit, I said, if we can get one, we will beat them. And very quickly in the second half, something happened, even just before we scored, actually, that made me absolutely convinced we were going to win that game. But the goal, when they got it, Amrit, we said at the time, and Kenny jumped in as well from Chukwueze, was absolutely perfect. It was the perfect time. We've seen goals for half-time change everything before, and that one certainly did. And it was a huge moment against the wind like that. And Rangers had been creating. Chermiti had the chance. Kasama had one. He kind of drove across the face of goal and stuff as well. Yeah, I thought that we were starting to come into the game properly, and the goal was perfectly timed.
Yeah, Stevie, it was. And you could feel that it rattled Falkirk as well. I think Falkirk wanted half time at that point, and we really didn't. But it was a great time for us to score, because I'll be honest with you, Stevie, if we did not score that, I don't think that game finishes 6-3. I don't think we come back into it in the way, not in the explosive manner in which we came back into it in the second half. That gave us a real boost, a real lift as a team, and it gave us some belief in what we can do. And, Asgard was involved in it again. He's got an assist. It was his shot that came off the post. And Raskin, even Gassama, Gassama's getting in on the act, and he's heading it across the goal. So everybody wanted to contribute, and you could see that real collective spirit in the team, that they were like, right, we can do this and we're going to do this. And that was lovely to see, a great camaraderie. And like Kenny mentioned, there wasn't a panic. There was just, right, we've got work to do now, and we've got a deficit to close here, and we need to start scoring. And that's exactly what they did. They went about their business industriously, diligently, and they got the job done. But it was the critical timing of that goal that was so important, Stevie, because second half we came flying out the traps, and you said to me, you said, listen, if we score one in the first 5 minutes, this game will go away from Falkirk very, very quickly. And that's exactly what happened. We just hit them quick fire. And then the tails are up. We were a different prospect with Miovski coming on the bench, having two up front. It changed everything. It changed the dynamic and the landscape of the game. It gave us more options. I think Chermiti and Miovski linked well. Chermiti can't lead the line on his own, Stevie. I'm convinced of that now. I think we've got to accept now that if we want the best out of Yusuf Chermiti, for me, there has to be someone there with him. It might not necessarily have to be Miovski all the time, but there has to be someone close to him, because you're not going to get the best out of him unless there is someone there with him.
Kenny, that goal was vital.
Very much so. And as you both said, the perfect time to score it, because we had listen, let's not kid ourselves on. We had a horrific first 25 minutes, 30 minutes, and I think it is an awful lot of it was down to the conditions and that park. I think we got spooked a little bit, and let's not pretend that Falkirk didn't play out their skin, because they did. They were terrific in the first half. Genuinely fantastic, and just playing with an ease and get forward so kind of almost nonchalantly. They are very good at that. Fair play to John McGlynn. He's got them like a well-oiled machine. They know exactly what they're doing. But the goal was highly notable, right, that there was literally no celebration. It was just a quick, get the ball, get it back. and it was just they all had a business head on. I think they all began to realise, as you say, right, we're beginning to get to grips with this. I don't know if even one or two of them had turned and said, look, calm down, we'll get it in, we'll get there, and we've got that wind at our backs in the second half and we're going to use it. So it was one of those things that you look at it and you think, it came at the perfect time for us. But if you're being honest, when you look back on the game, as I say, I've managed to watch it back today, it was kind of coming. We were starting to create chances. And yeah, Amrit, again, you were spot on. You could tell that Falkirk were kind of desperate to get in at halftime 2-0. And it would have been a very different game. There's no doubt in that, because if you don't score and you go in at 2-0, you really need to score in the first 5-10 minutes. And Falkirk can sit and play in a different way, if you like. Do you know what I mean? To a certain degree, they can sit there and sit with 10 men behind the ball, make it a little bit more difficult. Now, they could have done that, I suppose, but my point being that it's not in their nature. But if you're protecting a 2-goal lead, it becomes a different thing. Now, what I noticed more than anything else is, you know, you're talking about the furore about it's a Rangers goal. They just want to cause controversy about a Rangers goal, but there is you posted it today, Stevie, but I'd already seen it. There's a clip from a fan, and it's as clear as day. It's not out. It's just not out. So put it to bed, and perfect time for us, because, as I say, we just walked in with a bit between our teeth. I think what in. Fair play to Danny Rohl, having listened to him in the press conference and in the interviews, he's as calm, he's as cool as cucumber, and he's just a calm guy. And he kind of basically said that he didn't need to say much, because there was plenty of people talking, plenty of players talking, I beg your pardon, in the dressing room and trying to fix it themselves. Now, that's very reminiscent of Walter's first team. But Walter would never do that. You wouldn't need to say much at all. They would all just pin each other up and get your finger out, matey, and they would. And I think there was a bit of that going on as well, which is absolutely music to my ears. I love hearing that players are going to take the responsibility themselves. They don't need, and I understand that Danny Rohl will turn around and say to them at halftime, I'll give them solutions to what's going on, but they've still got to go out and act that out. But when they're sitting there talking amongst themselves, I think that's a brilliant bit of teamship, if that's a word, a real unity there, that they're prepared to turn around and sit there and shout ball at each other and get the point across. You're not doing this right, but neither of you doing that. And they all turn and say, right, okay, let's fix it. So a perfect time to score and get us back into the game. But if I'm being honest, I still didn't see that second half coming, to be honest.
It's easy for me to say, but Amrit and I were extremely confident at halftime. We both said it. Something happened instantly at the start of the second half. Amrit, you might remember, Donaldson dribbled out for Falkirk from the back and he couldn't get out. The ball was literally, it was so windy yesterday. He couldn't get out and we kind of robbed him. He got a foul, I think, and within a minute we were level. And I said to you at that very point, and you said the same thing, we're going to beat them, because the conditions yesterday, it was such a leveler, I think. And when we had that wind, then I think we were a stick on. And the attitude of the players yesterday, if you watch it back, Gassama, who we've criticised, Gassama's switch, he goes to the left, and he's made, we've given him criticism. The last couple of games, he's made vital contributions. He loses the ball, he wins it back, perfect cross, Chermiti equalises. Nobody celebrates. Chermiti has a wee fist pump, but every single one of them back. Let's get the ball again. And the third goal comes from Falkirk not being able to clear it out. It's a kick out. Nico gets it. He knocks it down to Taylor Asgard, runs on and finishes it. And within 5 minutes, Rangers are 3-2 up. And it's the weather, it's the conditions. And I absolutely get the criticism for the first 30 minutes. I get it. And I know on telly you're maybe not seeing the whole picture. the conditions were criminal to play in yesterday. The wind, the surface, the surface was so dry, so the bounce was awkward. I'm willing to give Rangers a bit of leeway, by the way. It took them half an hour to get into it right. I understand that, not good enough. We can't always go 2-0 down. They went and rattled 6 goals in. They responded perfectly. The mentality, absolutely. You can turn around and say that they are monsters. They are becoming monsters. 14 goals in 3 games, Amrit. And they were suddenly 3-2 up with 2 cracking goals. There was a point after the 3rd goal going in where you had to subdue me somewhat, just make sure I wasn't getting overexcited. I think you leaned over and said, you're going to get us thrown out. But it was Nico, wasn't it? So I'm always going to react like that. So it's easy we called it. We said it at half time that Rangers are going to win this game. The weather, the everything. When you're there, it was just a different from maybe watching it on telly. And I just thought Rangers, the way they came out within 5 minutes to be 3-2 up, it was a performance of we've got the bit between our teeth and we're steamrolling in our way through these final games. And it was absolutely brilliant to watch.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, Stevie. I think I don't want to talk about the weather because we have talked about it quite a lot, but I don't think you can overestimate just how critical it was because before the game had started, just so everybody at home knows, the sprinklers were on at the side of the park, but none of the water was going on the park because of the wind. It was all getting blown onto everybody that was sitting on the front row. And then also before the game, Yes, I think they do. Do they do heavy machinery hire? The company called Yes. They had a huge billboard, Kenny, right, which was on casters, and it was at an angle. It must have been about 5 meters by 5 meter wide by 3 meter high. And it was at the corner flag, and the wind got underneath it, swooped it round, and there was a wee boy sitting just at the advertising board who was the ball boy, and the board came right round and cleaned them out. It was honestly the wee boy was fine, thankfully. He got up and he was okay, and he sort of laughed it off. But that just shows you what the conditions were like. But listen, it's almost as if, Stevie, that we handled the conditions better in our half than Falkirk did in their half. And we definitely used it to our advantage. You could see that just how critical it was. And we were getting a lot of joy with the wind at our backs and having the sun at our back as well.
Yeah, I'm with you. I don't want to go on about it too much, but I think it is key. Listen, we've scored 6 goals at one of the form away sides, right, on a really difficult conditions. And I get the criticism of the first 30 minutes. I get it. I didn't see some of the social media stuff, but, calling for Danny Rohl's head, after 2-0 and stuff like that. Come on, guys, please. Let's, we need to be together in this running. I know it's twitchy bum time and all that, but this, we are going for the title, Kenny. These things are going to, me and you have been through the mill. So's Amrit. We've done this before. We've seen it. Maybe some of the younger people and stuff like that, maybe not. I get it. I understand it. But that first 5 minutes or so to respond like that in the second half, to score those quality of goals, Raskin's goal was a thing of beauty. And I'm probably going to say that with Nico if it's a yard out and he taps it in. Like, I'm going to say it's the goal of the season anyway. But that's a response of a team that believe. Like, they've genuinely got me believing massively, manifesting. And I just thought the way they came out, the way they stormed into it was brilliant.
I noticed that Danny Rohl was very much using the keep believing after the game yesterday as well, when he'd seen the banner, and I think he liked it. But I'll tell you what, the equaliser, Tamiti's finish is a thing of beauty. It's a wonderful finish, so difficult, and anybody that's played football know that. See, you open your body up and allow the ball to come across you like that, and to actually make the point of lifting it as you're doing it, that's a very difficult skill, and he took it with aplomb. It was a cracking goal, as was his second. That was a terrific finish. But yeah, the pick of the bunch was Nico Raskin's finish. That was unbelievable. The whole move, he started it, he intercepts the ball, he gets the ball, gives it to Asgard, doesn't he? And does he give it to Milovski, and then it goes to Asgard?
No, it's straight 1-2
Asgard, yeah. And Asgard, I'll tell you what, if you actually watch that again, I don't know if you've seen it back, watch the wee pass from Asgard on that pitch, and it just shows you the difference from the first half to the second half, where they were really struggling with the pitch in general. That pass is played to perfection. He's running at full pelt, just hits it across, takes it, puts it across the keeper, and at the minute I don't know about you guys in the stadium, but sitting watching it on the TV, the instant it left his boot, I was celebrating. It was like that was going in. It was just guaranteed, just the way he hit it. The keeper had not unearthly, an incredible start to a second half, and it just shows you that's the one thing I'll say, guys. Right, I don't know if you agree with this, but I look at us. Now there's some decent teams in this league this year, right? Us, Hearts, Celtic, Motherwell, Falkirk, and Hibs in the top six, and there's none of the rest of them I think are particularly capable of doing what we did, which is just literally blowing one of the other ones away. We have that in our makeup now to turn around and go and play, even if you're struggling, to go and play for 20 minutes and literally score 4 goals and just blast a team off the pitch. I think the firepower we've got middle to front is just sensational at the minute. And watching it yesterday, we scored 6, but honestly, when you look at it, you didn't know where the goals were coming from. We were coming at them from so many different angles, and it must have been absolute torture for Falkirk to try and defend that yesterday in that second half, because you could tell they didn't know what to do with us. They genuinely didn't, because the movement from our front, middle to front, was so phenomenal. And as I say, having watched it back again, when you're watching it the first time, you're just enjoying the game and caught up in it. The second time, I was actually kind of watching how things were going, and honestly, you could tell they were petrified playing against us, to the point where they actually capitulated, I thought. And I've not seen that Falkirk side do that very often at all this season. So it's fair play to all of our players, but particularly for me, the two that I would give a special mention to in that second half are Nico Raskin and Tochi Chukwani. They were sensational in that second half, I thought.
Yeah, they got the balance right. Rangers do score, Amrit, again, a 4th goal. Raskin with the assist. Miovski kind of puts it in with his thigh. And then the 5th goal, Gassama again, just rampaging. That energy that I talked about from Gassama a couple of weeks ago, that drive that Mikey Moore, in fairness, does give you. He didn't have his best game yesterday. And he drives in. I'm pretty sure it was handball. It comes back. Chermiti rifles in the rebound. Just a really good finish from Yusuf. Obviously, he hits it straight at the goalkeeper, but this time Bain just kind of doesn't get his legs closed properly. Big Yusuf was good yesterday, incidentally. Frustrate the life out of us one moment, and then scores a couple the next. The big man's going to be vital in the running. But again, Rangers, 5-2 up. You're thinking, fine. Couple of good goals, nothing outstanding about them. Couple of good finishes. We're in a really comfortable place. And then a moment of absolute madness from James Tavernier. And as you said, we're online with that. We can see it. We had a wee bit of a debate about ourselves. He's definitely pulled him. The boy is theatrically went down. Absolutely he has. It's a penalty. It's a pull. Why are you doing that? He's running away from goal. He's against the wind. There's no danger there. What's the most that's going to happen? He'll maybe whip in across. If they finish it, they finish it. Fine. But don't give up what he done. It was just madness. The more I've seen it again, and it's just like, I try my level best on this show to be respectful, and James Tavernier's been wonderful for us, and you try and have that kind of side of it, and then he goes and does that, and you're just like, Tav, you are killing me here. What are you thinking?
Yeah, just really, really careless. And you understand that these are the decisions, these are these tiny little micro decisions you make throughout a game, Stevie, and you don't really think about them as a professional footballer. You're just doing whatever comes instinctually. But he's experienced enough and he's played enough of these games that he knows what he should be doing and where he should be. The problem is he doesn't go with the runner, and then he catches himself wrong side. So the mistake's made, and then he's trying to, I don't know what he was trying to do, but he needs to be careful as well, Stevie, because he might have got a red card, and then you let the whole team down. Okay, we got a yellow, we gave away a penalty, we lost the goal, which Butland was unlucky. to not say. They got a good hand to it. But the consequences could have been far worse. And that's your captain. That's poor decision making from the captain. He needs to do better in that scenario. I think on the other flank, Magoma was struggling as well. I think both the wing backs, Tav and Magoma, struggled yesterday. It's going to be crucial for us in this run-in to make sure we've got our first choice left and right back in the squad in the persons of Sterling and Romans. But notwithstanding that, I think Tav and Magoma will still feature in this running, because I don't think you're going to get 90 minutes for the remaining 5 games out of both Romans and Sterling, especially when Romans comes back. He'll probably be eased back in slowly. He's not going to get 90 minutes straight off the bat, is he? Sterling as well won't be able to play back-to-back games, 90 minutes, 90 minutes, 90 minutes. It's not going to happen. So Tav and Magoma are still going to be crucial for this team. They're still going to have to contribute. But James Tavernier is captain. He can offer an awful lot, Stevie. I still believe that. I still think he has a role to play in this team as club captain. But he needs to make better decisions. And that one was a really, really, really careless one, which could have cost us and could have had just devastating consequences for the whole team.
Yeah, absolutely, Kenny. I said that Rangers went on to score a 4th and 5th. Of course, they didn't. That pulled it back to 4-3. I don't want to pile on, right? But it's criminally poor from James Tavernier. It's one of those moments where he probably did it and then wondered, what the hell have I done that for? So I didn't think Tav had his overall best game yesterday. However, Rangers do go immediately up the park. They do get that 5th goal. Chamiti bangs that in within, I think, 3 minutes of going to 4-3, and then they add a 6th, which I really, really enjoyed. You know that I really like Oliver Antman. Really want him to do well. I don't know why I like him. It's one of those ones, and people will say to me, "Why do you like him?" And I'm just like, I don't know. Because I feel like there's a player in Oliver Antman. Has he done it? No. Has he shown us it? No. But it was funny when he played that ball to, I think it was Fernandez, Amrit and I run beyond. We both make the run beyond, and he makes it, and then he drills it across, and Miovski is where Miovski should have been. And you know, we go 6-3 up, which is a bit of a cherry on top. But if Antman can assist a couple in this run-in, they're going to be vital goals. And I just feel like perfect ending to what was a sensationally good second half for Rangers. Not infallible. We're not beyond moments of, not criticism as such, but moments of worry. I think that's fair. We're not defensively, is it a bit ropey? I think that's fine. I think you can say that and be okay with it. I think Tochi Chokwani is an excellent player, but he's naive at times. But did he cost us a goal or two? Should he have done better? Aye, absolutely should have. Do we have worries about Meghoma? I think the drop-off from Romans to Meghoma is quite big. You know, it's not... Nobody's sitting here saying we're world beaters and we're fabulous. But we've went and hammered Falkirk in the end after being 2-0 down in that conditions on that pitch. And it's a clear message to absolutely everyone. Rangers bit between their teeth.
A lot to unpack from that there, Stephen. Yes, I would say that Oliver Antman, I think you're probably, I know you, and you give players 10 minutes. And I was with you when he came on, his debut, I think it was it not, against Pilsen? And he had a terrific game. I was sitting with you, and he was fantastic on the day. So it's probably that initial take that's given you that. I'm with you though on Oliver Antman. I actually think he's a good player, and I think he's been a little bit unlucky because, I think a lot of the players in our squad have been unlucky with the start that they had under the previous manager. But Oliver Antman had it worse because he's had a couple of injuries that have made it his season a really stop-start one. Miovski, you know, being where he's supposed to be. Yeah, 2 goals, both times. What is he? He's right between the sticks, mate. He's between the posts. A number 9 that wants to get between the posts. Oh, my fucking God. Please just keep doing it. It's immense to watch a striker, because how many times have we, you look back at even last season, the season before, Cyril Dessers or whatever, and yeah, he'll score goals from between the posts, but he'll beat 7 men and then go back and beat one of them again before he does it. So Miovski's timing this to perfection. I thought Big Chermiti had a cracking game yesterday, actually. I really did, having watched it back. I think he's much better than I gave him credit for. Another one that if you remember, lads, I wanted him off at half-time. As I said it in the chat. But another one that had actually a very decent game was Tello Asgard. He was very decent yesterday. Not brilliant, but very tidy in general. The thing I'm going to come back to the previous topic there. I'm going to talk about James Tavernier for a little minute because you two guys have been very nice, and that's fine. I thought he had a horrific game yesterday. Genuinely, I thought he was terrible. I thought his distribution was really bad. I thought defensively he was all over the place. And we have an issue with this, actually, because Danny Rohl had said yesterday that he wouldn't play Dujon Sterling on the plastic surface. Now, he better change his mind come the last game of the season. If we've got a league title to win on the last day of the season, he'll need to change his mind because I don't want to see James Tavernier there. And that's no disrespect to James Tavernier, what he's done for the football club. But in my opinion, I'm going to say it now, yesterday was probably the final straw for me. This is too important for us as fans, as us as a football club, to not actually realise that he's a hindrance at times. And I thought yesterday, at certain times in that game, he was causing other players in our team a lot of bother by playing very difficult passes, being incredibly far out of position, and leaving himself 2-on-1 at times defensively when he's 10, 15 yards out of position. So it's an issue, Stevie. I want to see that dealt with. I'm sorry. I just think it's too important in this running to be taking risks anymore. And I understand you can't take a risk with Dujon Sterling if you feel he can't play in plastic, but he's got a decision to make if it comes to the last game of the season for me, because with all respect to James Tavernier, I think he's kind of shot to pieces. He doesn't have the recovery pace that he used to have, where he would make mistakes years ago, but he could get away with it because he had the recovery within him. I just don't believe for a minute now he's got it, Stevie. And I think when you look at, you're absolutely correct about Jaden Magoma. They were targeting both our flanks. They were both our fullbacks get targeted, but particularly James Tavernier. And when a wily old fox like John McGlynn is targeting you, you know you have an issue, Stevie. And that's kind of my main problem with this at this minute in time. And it's not to stick the boot into James Tavernier. You know, I've said this many times. I think he deserves his place in the Hall of Fame, and I love him for what he's done for Rangers. But I think his time's up, and I think we need to be quite blunt and brutal about that at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's not that I don't disagree with you, and I think Amrit's probably the same, and feel free to correct me. I think it's just genuinely for me, it's just a respect thing with James Tavernier. I think anyone that's been here as long as he has, I think nobody's blind. We all would rather have Dujon Sterling in. I think we all would be wary of James Tavernier starting at Hearts or Parkhead or against Motherwell, whatever you want to say. At the same time, I think he's been here 10 years. He scored 150 odd, whatever it is, goals. You know, the amount of service, the run to Europa League final, 55. He's sensational form at times. He's given me some wonderful moments. He's given me a few difficult ones, but I think for me, I'm just a bit like, right, Tav, it's time to move on at the end of the season. Respectfully, it's the right thing to do. It probably was 2 summers ago. So that's just the way it is. I don't like to go on the podcast and boot him. He's our captain. I would love nothing more than James Tavernier to lift the trophy at the end of the year. We can all shake his hand, lift him up, give him the game that he wants, and off we go. So, listen, it is what it is. I want to say, how many trophies has he won in the last 10 years, Billy? It's not all about one player. I'm not here to defend James Tavernier and say that he's been infallible. Nobody Nobody is saying that, Billy. Like, how many trophies he won in the last 10 years? I think the answer to that is 3. It's not enough. Everybody knows it's not enough. But you know, for somebody that's given us so much, I think there's a respect value here. Do you want me to sit? Do you want me to sit and say that James Tavernier's been awful and woeful and we should get rid of him and everything else? I'm not going to do that because I don't think he deserves that. He's made mistakes. He's past his best. He's a captain of our club and he's been here for a number of years. And I'm going to give him that respect and say, I don't think Tav should be playing. I thought he made a horrendous mistake yesterday. I hope he leaves a winner and I hope he goes in the summer. So that's where I am with James Tavernier. And I think that's how I'm going to play this. Back to what I was going to say. Let's not be negative. This team scored 14 goals in 3 games. I genuinely think we're hitting form at a brilliant time. When you look at the players in our team, Sterling, Romans, Giga, Chukwani, Raskin. You go to the forward line, Gassama, goals absolutely everywhere. Kenny, what happened? Did Davon come again?
No, I was.
Did you fall? Did I put you to sleep?
And I turned myself off.
I put you to sleep talking about Tab. Sorry, mate.
Not
Miofsky, Chermiti, Ant-Man. Look, I just genuinely feel, Amrit, Kenny, we are hitting form at the right time. And not only are we hitting form, I watched the team and they're hungry. Nico Raskin yesterday, I'll give you some stats of Nico Raskin. Rangers posted this yesterday. Nico Raskin touches 86, passes into box 4, final third entries 7, tackles 5, dribbles 3, counter pressures 8, ball recoveries 18. Second in the team, only to Chukwani. Team rank for all of those things first. I look at these guys. Nico Raskin's got a World Cup to play for. I just think that we are genuinely hitting form at the right time, Amrit. This team is making me believe. It's making me positive. I watched them yesterday. I watched them at the end of the game in front of that banner. We are galvanizing at all the right time. Absolutely all the right time. I genuinely believe that Rangers are going to win the league this year. And if we go and attack and we play the way we can, as I said, we're not infallible. We're not defensively solid. I'm not making out we're Brazil. Momentum's massive in football. We talked about it. Momentum, belief, that character, that mentality. It's like a typical German team. They are coming to the fore right at the perfect time for me. And I am genuinely excited. I genuinely think we're going to do it because this team for me are clicking bang on. And we aren't saying this team's got 1 or 2 in form. I've just named 10 players there or whatever that we can look at that are doing good stuff.
Yeah, Stevie, I think it's so right. There's so many positives. And yes, we understand the negatives and we're all aware of them. They're not going to go away. But I want to concentrate on the positives like you. The fact is that we are blowing teams away. We are scoring for fun right now, bag loads. And it's not just 1 or 2 that are scoring. Everybody's getting in on the action. Everybody's scoring. Everybody wants to assist. There's a real synergy and connection between these players that you can see right now, an understanding and a mutual respect. You see that at half-time when they are the ones that are giving themselves the team talk, which is what Kenny spoke about. Danny Rohl didn't need to do anything because we've gone from this blaming and complaining culture that the players had under Russell Martin to an accountability type of culture within the team, accountability and responsibility. And that's what we saw yesterday. These guys are hitting form at the right time. They've got all the talent in the world. We knew they had the skill, Stevie. We weren't sure whether they had the will to win games. Now we can see the skill and the will. You can see the connection between the players. I mean, look at even Jeddy Gassama's getting on the action. He ran over to the Rangers fans he was doing like this high knees, Highland jig. I mean, was it the Gay Gordons? Was it like the Cayley dancer? I don't know what it was, but it was something, but it was expressive of how he feels and what it means to him. And all the players could feel that. They were loving the fact that they were putting a show on for the Rangers fans, and we were loving them for giving us that show. And we've created this, it's like a tsunami Stevie, of positivity and optimism around our club. And it's happening in every single area of our club. And we've all got a contribution to make, because you've got us fans, right? What can we really affect in terms of how the team do? It's just how we are online. It's how we are on podcasts. It's how we communicate. It's that aura and that optimism that we create around our club at every opportunity. And the players cannot help but be affected by that, Stevie. And I think they are feeling it. I think they're feeling the expectation. They're feeling the optimism. They're feeling the positivity that's coming out of all of us right now. Because the reality is, Stevie, is that we are on the cusp of greatness. We can do this. We see if we win. Sorry, not if. When we win this league, it will be one of the most remarkable demonstrations of turning a season round in the history of our club. I truly believe that, Stevie. They're going to make a movie out of this when we win this league. I'm telling you, Stevie, right? It's such a wonderful place to be around just now. And I'm so proud of the players. I'm so proud of the staff, from the boardroom all the way down to the boot room and everybody in between. We as fans have got a huge responsibility now to get behind this team and push them on to victory every single week, because I'm with you, Stevie. We can do this. We are going to win this league. Yes.
Kenny, there is massive amounts of positivity. I think yesterday was a moment where everybody looked at everybody and thought, yeah, we can do this. Now, look, there's 5 games to go. It's every game's going to be massive, one game at a time. Next up, Motherwell. We had 9 cup finals. We've won 4 of them. We're almost halfway through this run. I think the players are incredibly focused. I think the mentality is good. I think everything about them at the moment is good. Motherwell, another tough one. We've got 2 weeks to reset, recover. Firepower's there. You know, Ibrox has got a part to play. I want Ibrox like when we were going for titles on the 50th and under McLeish and stuff, where we had to get goals and Ibrox was electric. We need that kind of response. And I don't know how you feel about it at the moment, but yesterday, not only is it a positive message to us and a clear message to the fans, we're all in this together, keep believing. It's a message to absolutely everybody else that Rangers are playing like a juggernaut. And sometimes it's confidence, and sometimes, like, when you come up against the team and you can feel that, like, sometimes you're not only playing the players and the team, you're playing the confidence, you're playing the kind of overall run of thought, you're playing all that, you know what I mean? And that's what teams are playing, Rangers now. They're coming up against a team that have scored 29 goals in 9 games, whereas I think Hearts have got 11 and Celtic have got 16. I think that tells you who's outscoring, who's out creating, and who's looking like the team that's more likely at this moment in time. And yes, we've got to be careful, got to keep our feet in the ground, one game at a time. But I feel like giving this team all the credit in the world, because the balls they have shown to get back into this and then be pushing the way they are is quite something.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And yesterday kind of typifies that, it kind of personifies that, where you look at it and you say that you've started badly, really poor, there's no getting away from that. Then you turn that around and hit them for 6. I didn't want to go overboard on James Tavernier, and I apologise if it's annoyed some folk. However, I do think it needs said. And for the betterment of the team is all I'm concerned about. What we've done there, what you're doing, what you're saying there, what you're doing here at this minute in time is you're sending out the message to everybody else, particularly the 2 clubs we're challenging with. Catch it if you can, effectively, and it will come down to those games, or the final 5 games. But those 2 games in a week, away to Hearts and away to Celtic, will define this season, Stevie. And I would put it very quickly. I would listen to a little bit of Ewan Cameron today, and he actually turned and said, "They're worrying me." He watched that yesterday, and he as a Hearts fan, we all know Ewan's good for a laugh and stuff, but he actually did say that they're worrying me when they're playing like that. He said, because that's a concern when you're turning up and you're 2-0 down and you go and batter somebody for 6. And that's the good thing about it. Now, for me, I've been saying this. I said it last week, and I'll say it very quickly. I maintain this. I said last week 4 games. I'll say it this week: win your next 3 games, and we're going to win that league, and it's there for us. And I have no doubt about that whatsoever. Tough games, every one of them, absolutely. But you've sent out a real strong signal yesterday that we are here and we are not going away, because we've watched this year in, year out, Stevie, where a Rangers team will get themselves into position and then they'll turn up at Ross County, up at Dingwall, and collapse in front of us, and that'll be the end of that. We've done that before, but they're clearly not going to do that. Now, if they don't win it, it won't be for the lack of trying. That's what I would say. But for me, it's exactly what you said there. It's what Danny Rohl's been saying: 1 game at a time. Just keep winning. Motherwell in the fortnight, I'll be with you, Stevie, and it will be some game that it's going to be a belter. They're a good side. They're a tough team to beat. But I fancy us very, very strongly. And I'll fancy us in every single game, the way we're playing, because going forward, we look unstoppable at this minute in time. I don't think it really matters who we're playing in Scotland. We are going to cause teams serious issues going forward.
I'm going to finish this with just a word about Danny Rohl. He has got this team playing. He's got his vibe, and I think he's great. I think the job he's come in and done since he come in has been brilliant. Have I been in a huff with him a few times? Have I thought he's got everything perfect? I could have strung him up after the Motherwell game, trooping out of Fir Park that night. Was I overjoyed when we got put out the cup? No, I wasn't. But he's a young lad. He's a young guy. And I think he's done a wonderful job for us. Amrit, how would you... There was backlash yesterday. A few people going right in. And I don't know if that's just social media and things like that. But, at 2-0 down yesterday, he talks about tactical tweaks and changing things. It's a couple of times he's done that. I liked, by the way, what you said about Manny Fernandez being the one that was doing the shouting and having a go at people, and that big Manny could be captain material, in a few years' time. He's going to be a cracking player. But I think Danny Rohl has been exceptional. I think Danny Rohl's building something with Rangers. I think that if we don't manage to do it this season, the trajectory for this football club is upwards under him.
Without a doubt, Stevie. I think a lot of these comments, and I saw them, and it's just typically Rangers fans. Listen, I'm guilty of it as well sometimes, Stevie. Maybe not with the same level of ferocity or in sort of intenseness as some of the others, but sometimes when we're not playing well and things aren't going well, we're emotionally triggered. We start to shout and rant and all the rest of it, and we just say what comes to our mind without really considering what we're saying. I think anybody calling for Danny Rohl's head after yesterday is not really wise. We've got to keep things in perspective. He has done remarkably well. We were -1 goal difference when he came, 13 points adrift. Look at where we are now, Stevie. I don't know anybody else that could have played us into contention the way he has. He has conducted himself with great integrity and dignity and decorum. He has got the absolute best out of these players. Let's remember, this was a team of not misfits, a team of guys that couldn't win a game, couldn't pass a ball, couldn't string 3 or 4 passes together, couldn't make tackles. These were guys that didn't look like football players. And he's turned these guys into what now looks like a championship winning squad. That's on Danny Rohl. Whatever you want to say, it's his leadership, it's his tenureship, it's his authority, it's what he's telling them in the shadows. They're getting rewarded in the light for the things that they're doing in the dark, and it's Danny Rohl that's the one that's giving them the direction and the instruction. There's no getting away from that. So I think Danny Rohl's got to receive a lot of credit for this, and I think the fact that he's taken them away to Spain, Steve, I think is a very good idea. In years gone by, it's not been done by the right men. I think Danny Rohl is the right man to get the best out of them. Take them away, reset them, give them clear instruction, take them away from all the noise and the distraction, Stevie. Just kill and cut all the expectation of family and friends and of fans and of the media and everything else, and just go into a cocoon, take instruction from Danny Rohl, and come back completely dialed in 100% on what it is that they need to do over the course of the next 5 or 6 weeks. And Danny Rohl's the man to get that message across to him, because he deserves it. He's done it, Stevie. He's got us to where we are. I don't care what anybody says. It's Danny Rohl that's got us to where we are by getting the best out of these players. And like, I'm with you, whether or not we do it this year, which we will, by the way, we will win this league. But see, if we don't, then the building blocks and the foundation that he's created for the years that are to follow is absolutely crucial. And if we don't win it this year, we will win it this year. I'm not even going to entertain it. We will win it this year, but we'll win even more next year.
Kenny, Danny Rohl has turned a squad of mystics. I actually think that's very fair. We were on this podcast saying you would keep 3 or 4 of them and ditch what looked to be, but all of a sudden, he's got Fernandes playing, he's got Giga playing, we've got Romans at left back, Sterling's at right back playing incredibly well, Chukwani, Raskin, the forward line coming together. We've got assets. You're talking about selling Fernandes for a hell of a lot of money. You're talking about selling Nico Raskin a hell of a lot of money. You're talking about getting a load of money for Gassama. You're talking about getting a load of money for Big Yusuf up front. This is on Danny Rohl and on. And I get it. Like, I get people are so anxious and so like the anxiety levels are so high that we need to win this league. I understand it all, but surely in the light of day, if we don't manage to win it, then Danny Rohl, we go again. We back him in the summer, and he will be the guy that does bring a title to Rangers.
Said this to you ages ago on here, Stevie, that the Rangers are in a better place than anybody else in the league at this minute in time for next season already, because the foundations are there. Hearts, for all that they've done quite well this season, there's been a number of their signings haven't really cut it this year. How would I put this? There's a reason why I don't do social media very much these days, mate, because I just go on it and I just shake my head at times. One guy with many thousands of followers, at half an hour into a game yesterday, sacked Danny Rohl now. And you're like, as a grown man, you've got a responsibility there. It's your account, and people kind of believe what you think. And I'm kind of bored of it. That's why I don't really do much of the online stuff at all these days. I just find it a bit tedious. But you look at Danny Rohl, and he's lost one league game. And if you're being brutally honest about that, bar a bad goalkeeping performance and a dodgy offside decision, he might not have lost that one either. And you just look at it and you think, this is absolutely the man for this job at this right time, right now. And what has to be remembered and certainly not forgotten right here, right now, he's only signed 4 players. The rest of them are other people's players. He's only signed 4. So once he has that input to get the players that he wants to play his system, whether it's the staunch stoner or not, whatever way he's going to do it, the simple fact is that you have a manager there that has a real plan in place to make Rangers better. A fantastic coach. There is no getting away from it. If you actually look at the players this season since he's come in, and look how many of them as individuals have improved in the 6 months that he's been here, there is no question of it. They have improved. They've improved as a team, but individuals are getting better because of the coaching they're receiving. I can't praise the guy enough. Honestly, I just think we have won a watch, and it makes you realise how little you know about football, because I didn't want him here. I just didn't. I was like, it's not really my first choice at all. And it shows you your ignorance and your naivety and your lack of understanding of what actually is involved in building a football team and getting the best out of individuals. And he's managed that for all season since the day he got here, he's just managed to get more and more and more out of individuals, and I can't shower him in enough praise. Honestly, I think he's just been a breath of fresh air to us, and he's got us all believing, hasn't he? I mean, that's the bottom line. Every one of us believes that we can do this now, where even at the best of times, I've not overly thought that, over the last few years. So, yep, can't praise him enough.
Indeed. Amrit, what a pleasure. Thank you for your hospitality yesterday. Had a thoroughly enjoyable afternoon at 2-0. I always thought the same, I promise you. I really appreciate it, mate, as ever. And it was good of you to keep me under wraps just as that third goal went in.
That's what mates are for, right?
The handover and just calm down was very amusing.
No, mate, listen, a really, really great day. I enjoyed your company immensely, and the result was great. And we march on to a fortnight's time, which I'm looking forward to. So thanks again for having me on. Great to be part of the Four Lads team. And yeah, it's great to be 5 games away from winning this league.
Yeah, 5 games, as Kenny said. I think it might be closer to 3 wins, and we might just get there. Did I go to Amrit's for dinner, Steve? No, I didn't. I uploaded the pod and got myself back home very quickly for another round of cards with Pamela last night, Amrit. So, and by the way, she beat me this time.
Is that what you're calling it these days, Stevie? Around the cards?
It's definitely around it. Switch. Has anybody played Switch with cards? I got introduced to it. I got introduced to it the other night, and we're having a very long-running tournament of it now. But Pamela won last night. She won 7-6, so she got one back. But all I'm going to say, lads, is she done some quite distracting things. So I did, I mean, I can't compete. Leeds United have scored against Man U. They lead 1-0 at Old Trafford. I'm going to go and watch that. Kenny, what a pleasure, mate. As always, thoroughly enjoyed.
Yeah, thank you for having me on. Thanks, Amrit. And who would have thought Amrit would have been the sensible one on a Sunday? That's just madness, because I've met Amrit many times, and he's some guy. He's a laugh. No, but listen, I thoroughly enjoyed that. Good chat. And to the boy that I annoyed on the comments who was telling me I was rabbiting on a bit or something like that, I'm really sorry, mate. It's kind
We're
of
all rabbit on.
We're all. But I was going to say to him, that's not how I roll, mate. But I thought, just let him have his wee say.
Yeah. I want to thank everybody that watches, everybody in the comments, everybody that's everybody that has liked, subscribed, all sorts of stuff. I really, really appreciate it. You guys make the show. We thoroughly, thoroughly appreciate it. Huge thanks to all our sponsors: Rhino Express, Cliveview, Fire Protection and Joinery, Athol Industrial Solutions, CSD Air Conditioning, our very own Candid, which we'll come back to in 1 minute, and our Sunday sponsors, rydc.co.uk. Amrit, tell us about Candid.
So Candid is my baby. It started in 2017. We have 4 stores in the Falkirk area. We've got one in Coleman, Denny, Stennismuir and Grangemouth. We make our own gelato, fresh desserts and pancake stacks and cookie doughs and all that kind of stuff, slushies. And yeah, we are there for our customers. You can walk into our stores. We have deliveries available on our app. And yeah, follow us on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, all those kind of places if you want to see what we do and what I get up to in the kitchen. I don't just sit behind a desk, contrary to popular belief. I don't just do what Kenny does, which is eat biscuits and drink cups of tea. So yeah, so if you would like to come along to Candid, you'd be most welcome. We'd love to see the members there.
Yeah. Here's a story. I often say to people about coming on Four Lads and how to do it. Amrit sent an email saying he would love to be part of the Four Lads team. I found him on social media, found Candid, went on and watched his TikToks, watched the stuff he done, immediately contacted him and said, "You'll do for me." A little bit of scouting there, Amrit, to pick you up. Like the good old days of you and Chester. One view was enough. Kenny and I scouted you. And we're delighted we're here. Please check out Candid because they're absolutely fantastic. I can thoroughly vouch for the pick a mix.
I just need to dig them up. I don't drink tea. Coffee I drink, mate. And I try not to eat biscuits at my work, mate. It's no good.
Every time I pass Kenny's work, he's sitting on his ass. That's all I'm going to say. And that's...
Delegating.
Ladies and gentlemen, thanks so much. We'll be back on Wednesday night. It's myself, Kenny, and Chris. Will Chris be as positive as us? You will find out on Wednesday evening. Please join us then. Thank you, everybody, so much for all your comments. Everybody watching, subscribing, we absolutely appreciate it. Andy Firth podcast is live. Please go and check that out. A lot of love for that one. So Andy's great. At the end of the week as well, we will have a special interview with Tom Miller going live. Tom done a brilliant interview with David Hare talking about Graham Souness and his 40-year anniversary. I'm going to end it on a little bit of a personal thing and a very big Rangers thing for all of us. Andy Goram, the greatest goalkeeper that I've ever seen. It was on this day in 1964 that Andy Goram was born. During his 7-year spell at Rangers, he made 260 appearances, winning 10 major trophies. Andy Goram was just an absolute legend for us. Phenomenal goalkeeper and just my hero growing up, Andy Goram. What a goalkeeper, what saves, and he is very sadly missed. And I will say one thing, ladies and gentlemen, for the younger ones who watched Alan McGregor is as close to Andy Goram as I've seen. A truly magnificent goalkeeper. But Andy, I think for everybody in my generation, the 9-in-a-row team and watching will probably just say how special he was. Many heavenly happy returns to you, Andy. You're very sadly missed. What a goalie. The goalie. Take care, everybody. Have a lovely couple of days. Bye for now.
The Four Lads podcast is sponsored by Rhino Express, Clydeview Joinery, Athol Industrial Solutions Limited, and CSD Air Conditioning, in partnership with Black Rooster and Art of Gold. Thank you for listening to or watching the podcast. We hope you enjoyed the show.